Hi, it's Todd at Todd's Workshop and Todd Cutler here. And today we're going to have a look around this mid to late 16th century sporting crossbow. This is drawing around 550, 600 pounds in draw weight. So it gives quite a kick. You might not think crossbows do, but in fact they do. So because of that, it's now looking at the new technologies of guns, really, in a way. So we're beginning to get sort of more of a familiar looking gun stock so that it's not so painful on the shoulder. Now, again, you might think that guns would put crossbows out of use for hunting, but they were fashionable really for hunting through until about 1750. But this sports the relatively new and exciting feature of a bolt clip, because what that allows you to do is if you are, in the woods a little bit, or riding, or indeed, if earlier days, if you'd been pointing downwards with your crossbow and wanted to shoot down, you have to put your thumb on the back of the bolt here to hold it into position. This allows that all to change, but what it also allows you to do is to shoot longer bolts. So like this one here, which now sticks well out of the front of the bow, and you see that in the manuscript pictures a lot. Now that's fine if you've got your thumb on it, but for a gentleman, it's no good at all. So the bolt clip allows you to do that automatically, really. And then we've got nice leather bindings at the front here, bit of decoration, bit of hemp binding here, dyed nice bright orange red, and some scrimshaw work, again, which has got a little bit of paint work on it just to lift it up and give it a bit more. Now the Cranequin itself is an open work Cranequin. The Cranequins were invented 15th century, I think early 15th century from memory, but they really only began to get into popular use towards the end of the 15th. But now into the 16th, they've become sort of art forms in their own right. Open work, this is a very simple one really, but completely open work casement here so that you can see what's going on inside, you can see as you turn it what the gears are up to. And again, they'd often have inlaid panels and just works of art in their own right, really. But you need this heavy compound gearbox mechanism to draw the bows back because, at 600 pounds, this is quite a weight. They went up to 1,200, 1,500, maybe even 2,000 pounds. If you look at the thickness of the bows on them, they were vast, the draw weights of these hunting bows. So you need, powerful and complicated bits of winch equipment to get them back. Now this one here, it's a bit of a handful to deal with, but basically, you sit it onto the back of the bow here and it pulls on. So it now is resting on these two lugs at the back, the two steel lugs. So now it goes onto the string here and it sets, the two claws just set onto the string. The bolt clip here, you want this out of the way. They're quite delicate. You often see them broken off in museums. It's just a standard thing that happens. Now another thing to note very quickly is if you look at the string here going over the stock, it rubs quite heavily on the top of the stock. I used to think that was a badly made bow, but actually because of the force lines, the way the Cranequin works, it tends to lift the string off the stock of the bow as you're drawing it back. And to counter that, you have to have the bow pushing the string quite heavily down onto the stock. It means it's actually a pretty inefficient way of drawing it. It loses about 8 to 10% of its power, or impact energy rather, on the bolt. So it's not something you want to do if you can avoid it, but on a Cranequin bow you do need to cant the string quite heavily, pushing down onto the stock. Now the bolt clip was a revolutionary invention, a very small thing, but actually it transforms the way you can use the bow and it allows you to shoot longer, more accurate, more stable, cheaper to make bolts than was previously the case. It's easier done. Now you can shoot, I've got one here, shorter bolts. These are basically exactly the same bolt, but one is 50mm, 2 inches shorter than the other. I need the shorter one for a different bow. It's not for this bow. I need the shorter one for a bit different bow, but it's not the choice that I would make if I had that choice. So it shoots and it shoots okay, but I must say you can see the way it flies. It's just on the edge of being unstable. So I could not go 10mm, half an inch shorter than this. It would not shoot. So this is the absolute limit for this particular setup. I'll just show you the procedure for shooting the bow now. So the first thing you do is set the bolt clip to one side, set the nut into the position there so that the string will engage it and rotate it around. Cranequin hooks on the back, and there we are. Now you hold it into position for the first couple of winds, just so you can get a bit of tension onto the string now. Make sure everything's central. Keep the butt of the bow into the joint between your body and your thigh. Keep your fingers off the top there. And you just crank it around. It's a bit of a faff. I can't say I'm a great fan of Cranequins. And then trigger is now engaged. Back it off a little bit. And then I'm just popping the end of the bow here onto this chair because the ground's a bit wet. Bolt into the groove. And now the bolt clip is engaged. And then just shoot it as you would any other bow. So straight in the centre. The next thing I need to do now is completely unwind the Cranequin. The sort of person who owned this bow would have handed the Cranequin to his servant, who would now have prepared it ready for the next shot, and to be honest probably would have loaded the bow for him and handed it to him loaded. I'm short on servants. Thank you very much.